Hello, my name is Kelly Bluen. I am a certified Zentangle teacher. Welcome to my florals series. In these videos, I show you how to make beautiful botanicals, florals, leafy patterns, all using the Zentangle method of drawing. So for this video, I am actually doing a voiceover. My microphone quit working as I recorded yesterday's video and today's video, and I was unaware. So do another voiceover. Hopefully it goes smoothly. But I'm showing you right now that I've got a little sketchbook, my Micron pen, a PN, plastic nib pen, a little graphite pencil, and a blending tool. Also have a kneaded eraser. And I'm showing you that my blending tool is made of paper. Some of you have asked about sharpening them. There are blending tools that are made of more of like a rubber, I believe, but I just use the paper ones and they last forever. You can unfold a paper clip and slide it into the end, and it will push through and push out the tip if your tip gets a little bit flattened. But I use mine for years. So I'm going to show you, I think, a couple right now. Like this one, I think I've had for like 7 or 8 years, and it's dirty. It's not perfect. It's kind of flat on the end, but it still works as a blender. And here's another one. Look at it's unraveled. I mean, truly, you just need something that can blend a little bit of graphite. Okay? All right, got all our materials. We're going to open up our book. Look at all these fun tangles that we've done. All right, so today is number 17. So I like to draw them first in my little sketchbook. I can do some practices, some variations, and then add them to my 3.5-inch tiles that I am taping together to create a garden. So we will do that next. Not sure what I was saying here. It's so unfortunate that I don't have the audio for this video, but I'm probably saying something really important. I'm just kidding, I probably wasn't. So I think I wanted to mention that, and I've mentioned in other videos, that some of these are representational, where they are named after a specific flower and look like a specific flower. But most of them are non-representational, meaning they just look organic. They look like something that could grow in a garden, but they do not look like a particular plant or flower. Okay, this one is called Purri by Carla Bertola, a certified Zentangle teacher. And we're going to begin with a spiral shape, which is a printemps, a Zentangle pattern called printemps. So just make a cute little spiral and then close it. And then she does this little thing where she adds some ink to one side. So I'm adding it to the left side. And that is called adding weight or weighting the lines. And it just adds a little bit of interest. So now I'm moving to my pencil and I'm going to put in a very light aura all the way around the spiral. And then I'm going to go out a little ways, about a pencil width, and I'm going to do another aura. And we're doing this in pencil because we're going to add some pen details later, and we just need the pencil as a guideline. All right, you can go back to your pen now. So I'm drawing a sample over here of if you did it not in a round circle, if you did it like on a straight little bar or border, you would take your pen and make this C shape. You would start at the top, make your C shape, and then end up at the bottom of the other side. See how that looks like it's wrapping around? And then we make a second one right beside it. See how we did that? And then I like to connect to the top And I usually connect the bottom as well. And then we do this technique where we add some shading, but then we stop, and then we start up from the bottom. And we leave that little bit of white in the middle that looks like a reflection. And now we have this little band wrapping around that line. Isn't that so cute? All right, so we're gonna put that all around our circle. And one thing that I tend to do is make mine really straight, and I really want it to be a little bit more rounded. This first one, see how straight I make that? It's okay, but I think it looks better if it's a little bit more rounded. Okay, I do my 2 C's. And then I just add that ink on the top and on the bottom. I fill in that little top gap and bottom gap a little bit. And now look at how cute that is, like it's wrapping around that band. So I'm going to do another one. Again, I did it really straight. I didn't mean to. Put some ink in the top of the bottom, top and the bottom. Leave that center white. This next one, I think I tried to curve a little bit more if I can remember correctly. Nope, not yet. Still doing the straight lines. And see how that second letter C, that second curve, how those little hooks wrap over the top and the bottom of the band? I love that. Okay, maybe this is the one where I try to curve more. See, a little bit more of a curve. That's better. Ink in the top, ink in the bottom. And I am not spacing these out perfectly, but if you think of like a plant growing in nature, they're not always perfect. So it's okay if some of your spaces are larger, some of your bands are smaller. It doesn't matter. All right, I think I have room to put at least one more. As you can see, I'm turning my book as I go. There we go. And now here comes the reason why we did these in pencil. So I'm going to kind of follow that pencil line, but I'm going to go underneath that little hook of the C, and then I'm going to bump it a little bit. See how I'm kind of giving it a little bit of a curve? And I want that curve of the C to have a little bit of space before it hits the line. So I bump out. I start underneath that hook of the C. And by bumping these, it makes it look like those little bands are squeezing around that circle. And I love that look. And now we do the same thing on the inside, but it needs to go the opposite way. It needs to curve like a smiley face. So I show you over here, the top would bump up and the bottom would bump down. So bump, and these are just little bumps. It doesn't have to be very dramatic. Look at that. Oh, it's so cool. Thank you, Carla, for showing us this one. And I love how when you do that, that whole part kind of separates from that center area. And that looks amazing. And then when we add shading later, it just makes it look so wonderful. All right, I think I'm about to show you my garden so far. So I am taping 3.5-inch tiles together. And these are all of the days that we've done so far. And I really am trying to vary each flower, each botanical that I do, because I want each one to show you something different. So they may not all be your favorites, they may not all be my favorites, but I'm trying to show you a variety of techniques. So that's why I liked this one for today. I just think it's a very different and unique way of creating a botanical. All right, so I want to put one right about there. So I'm going to do my spiral first. Make it nice and round. Mine's a little flat. And then you're going to take your pen and add that weighting. Just a little bit of thickness to give that some contrast. Now we're going to pick up our pencil and we're going to put in that first aura. Just enough for you to be able to see it. Then we put in that outer aura. And basically we're looking for a circle shape at this point. Okay, pick up your pen. And now we're doing those C shapes. Try to remember to curve it as you go. Curve. And then the other thing is we kind of want that bottom section to be a little bit wider because, well, I guess it doesn't matter on this one. Never mind. Maybe that's the next one. Okay. So just go around, add in these little C shapes. 1 and then 2. And try to space them out kind of evenly, but if you don't get it quite right, it's okay. No one's judging you. I sneak in one more here. Look at mine. Look at how uneven those spaces are. I promise it's okay. So I got all of my bands in, and now I'm going to go and kind of close off the top and the bottom, and then add in that shading. I love how that looks. Go the next one. Do the shading. I guess it's not shading, it's just adding the ink. But it gives that illusion of a bright spot on the center of the band. If you've ever done the Tangle Aqua Floor, it's very similar and has these beautiful bands like that. And you can see how this does not look like any actual flower in nature. But it does look very organic. All right, just continue around, adding that ink. And now we're going to add in those bumps. If your little C hook needs to come down a little bit more, go ahead and do that. I was just kind of checking mine. And then I'm adding that bump that bumps up to the C and then over to the next one. Look at how cool that's looking. I love it. And now we want to do that bottom one, and this one we're going to do the opposite way. We're going to do like a smiley face. That looks amazing. And again, I love how it kind of separates itself from that center little spiral. So we're going to add a stem. I'm doing wider at the top and straight down. So for the leaves, when she had her example, she made her leaf go a little bit separate from the stem, which you don't have to do, but I thought that was such a unique way to just make it look a little bit different. I'm putting a nice thick bold line in there, and I'm actually thickening the outside a little bit too. See how it's just a little bit off the stem? Just another idea to play with. I want to take a moment too to remind you how flat these look and how they don't really match the rest of the garden until we add our shading. So I'm going to add one up at the top, but I'm going to show you a different way to do this one. So this time we're going to make a spiral, but I'm going to make it long and flat. So kind of squish down. And then we would take our pencil. I'm doing this really quick just to show you the example. Oh, I messed up. I wanted it to touch the top of the spiral, not be above. And then see how that second one touches the top of the spiral as well. So all three of those lines touch the top. And now I would make these little curves. Okay? And now it looks like we're looking at it from a side view instead of straight on. So let's try that one. We're going to make our squished little oval spiral. And I can make it closer to the top of my border because it doesn't have any top petals. So go around once or twice and then close it. Add that thickening. Pick up your pencil. And I'm doing that little aura, but it touches the top. And then I do the wider aura, and that also touches the top. And that's going to give that illusion that we're seeing the side of it. So now when I add these curves, I want the bottom curve to come out a little bit wider so it looks like it's getting closer to us. So I'm going to keep it tight at the top and then out a little bit wide on the bottom. So there's the first one. See how I made that bottom one a little bit wider. And then I curve the opposite way to make it look like it's going around the circle. And I make that bottom one a little bit wider as well. Then I do my last one in the back. If you can fit more, do more. It's okay. All right, once you have that done, we're going to close off the top and the bottom and add that ink. I like to make my little edges be jagged in the center. I don't know why, I just think that when I was first taught this method of doing this, it showed that jagged edge as being a little bit more looking like a reflection. That back one is pretty small, but look at that illusion that it has, that we're looking at the side of it. And I'm mentioning here how it separates itself from that center spiral, which I think is really cool. All right, let's add our little lines. We want to bump up on the top. And then on the bottom, we're going to bump like a smiley face. That looks amazing. So now for the stem, I'm thinking about what pattern we're going to do tomorrow in this area. And I think I don't want to make the whole stem because I wouldn't mind tomorrow's pattern kind of coming over this one a little bit. So I think I'm just going to put in like half a stem just to remind myself that it's there, and then maybe let tomorrow's floral cross over, and then I can finish the stem. All right, go ahead and grab your graphite pencil. So for this, I'm going to do that inside edge of that outer line, just a tiny little bit. And then I'm going to do that inside edge of the bottom line. Doing this voiceover makes me realize how fast I draw. I never realized. I don't know how you guys keep up. All right, I'm up at the top flower doing the same thing. And then I put a little bit at the top of the stem as if that flower is creating a little shadow. And I take my blending tool and I just soften it slightly and push it towards the center. And I'm doing both sides of each section. And then just like, look at how that white area in the center acts as a reflection, and it kind of matches those little bands that we did in the black and white. And it's really giving this some dimension. Look at how beautiful that looks. Again, not a real flower you would see, but very organic. All right, I push down that stem a little bit, and then I'm adding some graphite to the bottom of the leaves, pushing that up into the leaves a little bit. And then I'm blending that top flower. I love how we blend this and then it matches the rest of the garden. And I'll do the bottom of the stem, pulling that down a little bit. And then my blending tool still has some graphite on it, and I'm just going to put some on the left-hand side of that spiral. There we go. So I want to add some more embellishments, but I think I'm going to wait until tomorrow's tangle, because then we can see where that one lands and what kind of elements it has on it, and then we'll be able to add some things to the rest of these. I love it. I'm showing you that if you wanted to, you could add a little line on the outside edge of that band. It's so tedious, it's such a small detail, but that little band could create a shadow. So if you want, you could do that part too. You definitely don't have to. Okay, so again, we're gonna wait till tomorrow for that part. And then tomorrow is Friday, and I will be doing the gratitude giveaway drawing. So if you purchased a May kit, it came with a little drawing of a bird that I watercolored, and on the back is a number, and I will be drawing a number from one of those tomorrow, and you will get a prize. So we'll see you soon.